Welcome to Opentalk. I am Kieran King, Talk Desk's Chief Customer Officer, and I am overjoyed to be with you here today. I have with me an esteemed group of panelists sharing their expertise liberally with you and the solar system. Today's format is all about capturing their insights, their ideas, and scaling them out across the entire industry as a force for good. Everyone is bound to hear some ideas and things they want to jot down. It's inevitable given the panelists we have today. However, we've taken care of all that for you. So, as our audience, we want you to know that we will be capturing the key takeaways from our panelists through a visual artist. The visual artist is going to be doing in live form um, different images, concepts, different terminology to encapsulate everything you're going to hear from today's panelists. At the end of the panel's discussion, we will be showcasing to you the visual design. We will also be sharing with you the visual design in TalkDesk's new community. We're so excited to launch the TalkDesk community portal, and this gives you just one more reason to come and join us in the community. Now, with that said, it's time to get started so we can start to feature the ideas and inspiration from our esteemed panelists. I'd love to welcome them to the virtual stage. We're going to begin with introductions. And the first introduction that would be great to have is one from Amber Scott. So, Amber, feel free to tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your role at Tuft and Needle.
Hi there, I'm Amber Scott, and I'm the head of customer experience for Tuft and Needle, and I also work with our Serta and Beautyrest brands on the direct-to-consumer side.
Terrific. Well, thanks so much, Amber, and it's great to have you with us. Mike Barris from You Next.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Michael Barris with Quicken Loans, VP of Engineering, focused on our sales operations at the business, working with partners and consumers to help drive the business forward.
Great. Well, we're so happy to have you, Mike. And Brad, tell us a little bit about your role at 2U.
Sure. My name is Brad Adams. I'm the Chief University Operations Officer for 2U. The team is responsible for supporting students through their entire life cycle, and 2U partners with top-tier universities to help them deliver high-quality online degrees, boot camps, and short courses across our ecosystem.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Brad. We're so delighted to have you. Fred, tell us a little bit about your role at AMC Networks.
Thanks for having me. I'm Fred Kleiman. I'm Vice President of Customer Service for AMC Networks. We run 11 different channels, mostly in the streaming space. We strive to take every customer interaction as the most important, and I'm thrilled to be here today.
Great. So much in alignment with our conference themes, making every single moment matter. So with the introductions out of the way, what we'll do next is feature our first question toward you, Amber. So Tuft and Needle is growing super fast. How and why is CX so important to your business and also the broader industry in which you operate?
So I would say that customer experience is important to every industry, to every business. Today, customers are able to answer all their questions, get access to all the information they need online. So if they're reaching out to customer service, it's our opportunity to provide them something more, to go above and beyond, to make connections, and to find opportunities to surprise and delight them.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for that, Amber. Mike, Quicken Loans is no foreigner to hypergrowth. And obviously, with customer experience at the heart of Quicken Loans, how do you guys really live that out day to day?
Thanks, Kieran. It's a great question. One of our core philosophies at Quicken Loans that we call our ISMs is every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses. And that's really been a North Star that's helped us to win our JD Power Awards for client satisfaction 11 consecutive years in a row. And ultimately what that means is making sure that we are meeting our clients where they are, providing that delightful experience, being thoughtful in how we interact with them, whether that is through phone, email, chat, text, whatever it might be, to make sure that we are providing them the experience that they need, answering their questions, and providing the service that they're looking for.
And you do so incredibly well, I must say. So thanks for that, Mike. My next question is for you, Fred. You have a multitude of different brands that you oversee at AMC Networks. So tell us a little bit about how CX is becoming a greater and greater differentiator for all the brands that you oversee.
Great question. So we treat every individual as important as everybody else, and we have separate customer service needs for each of our brands. We support a number of streaming brands, including Acorn TV, All Black, UMC, which is now All Black, and Shudder and Sundance Now, and AMC Plus. And each of those customer constituencies expect a different experience, and we use the tool, the TalkDesk tool, to help us with that and also differentiate by brand. We also are 24/7. So people stream at night and they stream in the weekends and holidays, and we're operational around the clock because people want to be entertained when they want to be entertained on demand.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really impressive what you've done in basically ensuring the quality is there across all the different brand experiences. So thank you so much for joining us. You're also our newest TalkDesk customer on the panel today. So we're delighted to have you with us. Brad, my next question is for you. Your biggest challenges during your growth, I'm sure it's not a short list. So what was the biggest challenge that you faced and some noteworthy wins that you and your team experienced as you tried to address the rapid pace of growth?
Thanks, Kieran, and great to be here. Certainly, we've been growing at a rapid pace for over a decade. And really, if you look at just what's happened in the past year with COVID, a lot of universities were forced to rapidly transition to remote and online, and making that transition and supporting, what had been a pretty static set of product offerings became very dynamic, where our partners didn't just need to know how to execute on an online degree program. They needed to know how to adapt their online materials to sort of a more digitally native frontier. All the while, we had a lot more connections and demands from our partners to connect our degree, boot camp, and short course products, and as well as our modernization of our tool set. So, we had been a very high phone-centric organization, and some of the big wins that we've really, we've incorporated are for both our admissions and our support teams. We've actually incorporated live chat as well as SMS and some really impressive data analytics as well. So it's, I would put those as the wins in terms of being able to get some of the insights from the students directly.
Yeah. Those wins are impressive. I'm sure you had some deep
Lots of sweat.
points. What would you, yeah, I was going to say lots of sweat. As you look back on that experience, Brad, what were some of the most painful parts of that growth, and how would you have done things differently?
It's interestingly because as I looked and continued to research CX, they're pretty typical answers that I'm sure every my fellow colleagues here on the panel would agree with. It was really just rapid scale, being able to maintain personalization and a customized experience, so you don't people don't feel like a number, and they feel like they're getting the quality, dedicated, brand-centric, university-centric, program-centric support, all the while having to sort of punch operational holes, and data holes through all of the silos that exist to make sure that you're providing end-to-end support. And really, again, just sort of particularly in COVID, the pace and the number of new partners and expansion of existing relationships sort of caught us by, pleasantly surprised, but caught us by surprise in terms of just the amount of new things that we had to do. So the data and the ops barriers, we had to evolve pretty quickly.
For sure. And you did so in such phenomenal form. So congratulations on
And
the
thank you
great
for your help
growth.
with that.
Amber. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Amber, you're a digitally native company. You experienced lots of rapid growth. What were some of the challenges that the team at Tufton Needle faced?
I would say the biggest challenge we faced was just that rapid growth. We had to scale up our team really fast. And when you're a small team, culture, I won't say necessarily culture is easy, but it's easier, right? You carefully hire, you have a group of people that works really close together. And as we grew, what was really important to us was to maintain that culture. And so as we brought on more people and we needed to bring on people fast, we really looked to keep our culture intact and as well as our expertise. So really just make sure that everybody coming on really was bought in and prepared to serve the company and the customers.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've mentioned to us how important culture is and the quality of hire. So tell us a little bit about what you learned relative to preserving culture in rapid growth.
I think the biggest thing we've learned is the onboarding process. Like obviously there's a hiring process that comes before that that's very important, but once you have decided on a candidate and you're bringing them into the company, you really have to be careful with your onboarding process because you want to set your employees up for success. You want to bring them in a way that makes them feel cared about, that they're being taught the things they need to learn to serve the customers or to do their role. And sometimes when it's busy and growth is rapid, you want to skimp on that. You want to figure out ways to do it a little bit faster. But if it's at the expense of the employee, it will ultimately be at the expense of the customer.
Yeah, well put, well put. And another one of our panelists, Mike Barris, is also going through rapid growth. So obviously, Mike, with the lowering interest rates, it was a boom for the mortgage industry and specifically you at Quicken Loans. So what did you learn about ensuring high quality in the onboarding process while still trying to, ride the rocket ship, so to speak?
I love that question. And, onboarding, whether it's a new partner that we're working with or a new team member that's joining the team to work with our partners and be great teammates, it's really about being thoughtful about that experience end to end for our partners, for our team members. How do we make sure that they're going to be able to facilitate the amazing customer experience that we need? And a lot of that comes down to not only great processes and great culture and great training, but data has been such a huge thing to help us be purposeful, intentional, and thoughtful about how we meet folks where they are to get folks ramped up quickly. And ultimately, when they're ramped up, to be able to provide that service as quickly as possible. In the past, we might have been okay with responding in a day or two. And I see industries out there, companies out there that it might be a week or two, but it's being that thoughtful, that intentional, using the data to get to a place where you can answer folks where they are quickly and efficiently. It's been huge for us.
Yeah, so I definitely hear what you're saying. And I think it's an excellent point that we need to be thoughtful. Data can inform us. But what are those inflection points where you need to make a pivot in how you're being thoughtful? What are the things about the data, the dimensions that you saw that really catalyze some form of a change within your CX, Mike?
It's a great question. I think that comes down to, I don't want to repeat myself, but or say the same thing, but just being in touch with your people, whether that's your partners or your team members, understanding where their problems are, where are they feeling challenges, especially if it's beyond the one-time transactional, it's a relationship. Get to know them, get to know their problems. And when you do that, you come to a point where you can have that inflection point to translate into from maybe all your communication is via email today. How do you move into a world of bots and chat and SMS? And it continues to happen. It's not a one point in time, but it continues to evolve, especially as you look out there at the great organizations that exist across so many different places now, the people and companies like Amazon, like Apple, Uber. How do we get to that place and beyond that place to provide folks what they need in that moment? So I think it's going to continue to change and grow as CX becomes a bigger part of our lives in business and all over.
Definitely couldn't agree with you more. And it's a great point about, staying in touch as low to the ground and the live action as possible. Your point about being thoughtful is also a very, very important one. So Fred, when I think about all the different brands, 11 different brands, you have to be thoughtful across a variety of different personas. So how do you serve each one of those businesses respectfully and being thoughtful when you have so much to look after?
Great question, Karen. So we answer each individual ticket individually. And so even though there are trends in our industry, we look at each individual's person's question, concern, and we respond thoughtfully. And quite honestly, I think Amber brought it up, hiring the right people is really the most important thing. So I spend a lot of my time making sure that we hire the right people that are using these great tools like TalkDesk. If you don't hire the right people, they will confuse the brands and actually not give the brand loyalty that we need. Um, and during the pandemic, it's been really great because entertainment is still very important and people haven't been able to go many places. And so we're an outlet for them. And we need people that respond very quickly and succinctly and also on brand. So we do not underestimate how hard it is to get a customer, and our job is to keep them happy and functioning and also get them right back online. Who on the panel has not forgotten a password? Everybody does. And we, to Mike's point, we like to give back to people very quickly because they want to watch that show like Creep Show on Shudder. And if they can't get to it, they get very upset. So we try to make sure that we hire the right people with the right skill set and the greatest tools we can find so that they can provide a great CX.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It comes down to those individual moments that matter, the individual interactions, and also the individuals that we hire. And talent selection is probably the most crucial decision we can make as a CX industry. So, great point, Fred.
Thank you.
Amber, there are a lot of people watching here today who might be new to this industry or looking for that next level idea and inspiration. You've been at Tufton Needle for 5 years. You've been a customer of ours for 5 years. So what would you recommend to those looking to take it just that much higher? How do they raise the bar? What's your advice?
I think Fred really captured it. I think about our company and we have really great policies and procedures and we spend a lot of time on them. Like we go over them, we revise them, we iterate on them. But when customers reach out to us, we take them as individuals. So our agents know the policies and procedures. They believe in them. They believe they're fair and honest. But when someone reaches out to us, we have that knowledge, but we're also taking in everything the customer is saying and we're willing to make adjustments. And every single one of our agents is actually empowered with full autonomy to make any decision for the customer that they think is right. And we just ask they balance what's best for the customer, what's best for the business. And we do have discussions, we do fine tune judgment and have those kind of discussions, but no agent ever gets in trouble for making a decision and no agent ever has to run a decision up the chain. They can make it right there with the customer. So I would say as people are building their businesses or looking to bring them to the next level, never forget that your customer is one person and the truth is in the eye of their experience. And so you have to start there and work around that.
I love that. It is so empowering to hear you say that. That obviously gives your customers confidence that that first touch is going to be one in which they're going to resolve their inquiries. So that's great. And I absolutely also know that our friend Brad is contemplating his next level. So Brad, for those who are designing what that customer experience should look like, what would be your advice for leveling up?
I think you really, very similar to what everyone else has already said, we really need to make sure that you're putting the customer first and make a golden rule, because it's about their experience, not yours. It's not about how you're operationally supporting them. So really walk a mile in their shoes, understand what it's like. For us, people aren't coming to us to resolve a tech ticket or a registration issue. They're here to transform their lives through education. And we have to understand where they're coming from, their unique needs and things that we need to do to adapt. So, I think it's really just fundamentally see it through their eyes, get a lot of feedback, constantly solicit input from your user community and make sure that you are in fact meeting their needs. And then I think leveraging the data. I mean, we are obsessive about our surveying, and we actually analyze all the open-ended feedback, all the quantitative feedback, and we try to do something with it, and we try to tell them what we're doing with it to make sure that we keep them engaged in the cycle as we work through it. So yeah, I think just to sum up, I think it's sort of golden rule to walk a mile in their shoes, and then certainly leverage the data that you have to drive constant improvement, and you'll get there.
That's great. Yeah, I feel there's a thread of empathy throughout your remarks. So that's great. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Brad. Mike Barris, I have a slightly different question for you. We've heard from Amber and from Brad what folks should be thinking about. What should individuals do to take it to the next level? My question for you is, what should those in the CX profession not do based on what you've seen?
I think this might be one of my favorite questions because it is so important that we move into this new world and understand how consumers' behaviors are changing. And so the things that I would stay away from is resting on our laurels, believing that what got us here is going to get us there and change the world. It's probably not going to be the case. We need to find new ways to engage, new ways to leverage consumer experience, customer experience, CX, to be able to move away from the world of open-ended emails that are much more difficult to have quantitative and qualitative data aspects to it. It doesn't help us get to that next level. Even things as simple as a single drop down to choose, hey, this is my problem. Be intentional, be specific, allow yourself to build a solution that helps the consumer, the partner, whomever it is, to get really narrowed down into what they're trying to solve, and then leverage the power of specific specialized teams, AI, and bots to answer those questions as quickly as possible. Really takes you to the next level, allows you to create that stickiness, that loyalty, to bring customers back over and over again over time and want to believe in you and champion you as their vendor, customer, partner, whatever it is of choice.
That's great. Very wise words to live by and quite inspiring. So thank you, Mike. Fred, what would you advise someone who's just entering this industry and has great aspirations for a long career?
It's a great question. I get asked that a lot. And actually, I try to lead by example. So really getting your hands dirty and answering customer calls and emails, experiencing what the customer is experiencing, and not be afraid to start at the bottom. You know, a lot of people come in and they want to manage a big team. It takes a while to understand not only how to manage the team, but also what the product is. And that's a big thing. And that's why we spend so much time in my team screening employees. We want to make sure that they want to be customer experience experts. And the way to do that is to really walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's what we do in my group. And this morning I had to respond to a complaint, and I did it myself. You know, I enjoy doing that. And I think my team understands that, because if you don't understand how to respond to customers, you can't expect them to stay. And that's what we're all about. We want people to entertain themselves, and you have to understand it from the bottom up. And that's the biggest advice that I would give someone looking to get into the customer experience field.
Thank you for that, Fred. It's very sincere. And again, you know, the note of empathy. That's great. Amber, Fred's our newest customer on the panel, but you've been with us quite a while. Succinctly, how would you describe your journey with TalkDesk over the years?
So we've used TalkDesk my whole time at Tuft & Needle. I've been here about 5.5 years. And what I would really just say is it's seamless. Like, we don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about TalkDesk. Like, most of my agents, we all know we use TalkDesk, but TalkDesk is not a word that comes out of their mouth very often, which means it's working, which means that it's allowing us to be there for our customers. So really, it's been a great experience because it's a tool that works for us and we don't have to worry about it.
That's great. That's great. And Brad has also been a longstanding TalkDesk customer. You've co-innovated with us, and we are sincerely grateful for that, Brad. You were also, your 2U team, were founding members on our community portal. So share with us some of their initial impressions.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are delighted because, as you said, like, we've had a partnership for a long time, and as we've continued to evolve, you get some of the best ideas and inputs from other people who are using the product and maybe using it differently, learning different features. We leaned on it very heavily as we had to make the transition of 1,700 people going 100% remote over a 3-day period last year. So, you know, the vast majority of those, you know, we leaned on a lot of the community. And I really think this is the next step, and really incredibly excited because, I mean, look at this. I get to interact with people like this, you know, every day to help improve my customer experience, leveraging some of their incredible experiences. So couldn't be happier, and kudos to TalkDesk for putting that front and center.
Thank you, Brad. So as we wrap up the panel questions, my next inquiry is for Mike Barris. So we want to be bold. We don't want to be conservative in this industry. We want to surprise and delight customers. So in 10 words or less, Mike, what would you use to describe a bold CX strategy?
Thank you, Kieran. This is a fun one. And what I would say is be thoughtful, be inspired towards a 365, 24/7 partner and client engagement.
That is good. That is 10 or less words too. So I love the 24/7 always on. I love the thoughtfulness. Thank you so much, Mike. And I also want to say our time has truly flown by. I'd like to thank each and every one of our panelists for their ideas, for their inspiration, and also for their insights. You are absolutely gurus in the field. I would also like to thank our audience for joining. One of the things that's so much fun is we've encapsulated all of these concepts into a visual design that we will show at the close of this panel. You can also check out this visual design and see lots more in the TalkDesk community. Now, it's been my absolute honor and privilege to be here with all of you, 4 fantastic experts today. Let's all close out, enjoy the rest of the conference, make every moment matter. Stay tuned for more Open Talk 2021.